Welcome back, Marist sports fans, to another MBC Sports Podcast. I'm Andrew Selliver.
And I'm Connell Scruggs.
Today we will be featuring all of our winter sports, as well as looking back at Marist's final football game of the year and previewing the state championship between Blessed Trinity and Cartersville. First off, the Marist JV and varsity wrestling took on McNair, Riverwood, and Stone Mountain on Wednesday, following a great meet at Westminster this past Saturday. They competed the John Smith Mountaineer meet tomorrow.
And as for swimming, they took on Mount Vernon and Whitfield yesterday following a long break from competition after the McCallie meet. And we're still awaiting results from this meet. We don't have any as of now. They're going to host the Madeline Brown Invitational next Saturday at home.
As for boys basketball, they will open region play tonight at 7:30 at White County. They're currently 3-2, Connell, following a 62-49 loss to St. Pius on Tuesday, but that loss the scoreline acts like it was not that close of a game. It was a close game. Marist played a very good game. St. Pius, a huge favorite, being one of the best ranked teams in 4A, coming off a good performance. I think they made it to state championship last year. So they were heavy underdogs, and they actually led for almost the first 3 quarters of the game before St. Pius's offense took over in the fourth quarter.
And the girls basketball team also fell to St. Pius 41-32 in an upset. This made them also 3-2. And they're going to head out to White County tonight. Both teams are then going to play at Chess City next Tuesday.
That's right, and that was, of course, as you said, an upset because St. Pius girls basketball had been coming in not doing so well, slow start to their season, and that was really their first good performance of the year. So Marist came in the favorite against St. Pius in girls basketball, but was unable to win that game. And we're going to make an announcement of our, as of right now, here's our basketball broadcast schedule for the 2018-19 season. Of course, not all games are covered by us, so there will be some more games in addition to this covered by a Pixel-App camera.
Mm-hmm.
All the home games are covered, but these will be the home games covered with graphics and commentary by MBC. So starting off next Friday night, 6 and 7:30, Marist will take on Blessed Trinity, a big rivalry games there, and we'll have coverage of that one.
And these games are all going to be region games, and they're all at home. And we broadcast both the boys and girls teams. So if you're looking to watch either of those teams, tune in on these dates, and we'll have coverage for you.
That's right, and I believe all of the dates is going to be 6 o'clock for the girls' games and 7:30 for the boys' games. Of course, Blessed Trinity, as I said, next Friday will be the first one, and then all of the rest of the games will be in 2019, White County, Chastity, West Hall, and Denmark. So only, I don't think we'll be able to broadcast the Flowery Branch region game at home, but the rest will have all the other home region games.
And now we're going to look at what happened in the Final Four last week and a preview of the championship matchup coming up next Wednesday. So as you can see, as everyone knows probably by now, Cartersville defeated Marist 17-14 last Friday at Cartersville. And on the other side of the bracket, Blessed Trinity beat Troup County 51-35. So both of the teams are going to take on each other. Big heavyweight battle at Mercedes-Benz next Wednesday at 4:30.
That's right. Cartersville obviously coming off the close win against Marist. That was an unfortunate way for Marist to end their season. But Cartersville moves on, and they'll take on Blessed Trinity.
And, as we just said earlier, it's going to be a huge heavyweight matchup. These teams met in the playoffs last year. BT beating Cartersville in the semifinals, going on to play Marist.
Not the semifinals. It was actually second round.
Second round, sorry.
And that was actually an upset last year.
Yeah, it was an upset because Cartersville had Trevor Lawrence, big-time passer, now playing at Clemson. And BT just showed how good they were last year. They ended up beating Marist, as we know, in the state championship. This game is going to be pretty interesting. Both teams have fantastic offenses as well as some impact players. We'll take a look at the offense right now. As you can see, 38.1 points per game for Cartersville, 38.6 for Blessed Trinity, so almost 40 points a game there. 149 rushing yards per game for Cartersville, 212 for Blessed Trinity, and that's mostly due to Steele Chambers, four-star recruit. He's going to go to Ohio State next year, and as you can see, Cartersville has a little bit better of a passing game due to their quarterback T. Webb, gotten off from Louisville back before he even went to high school. Hasn't committed yet, but yeah, doing pretty good on both sides of the ball. And both teams are within 1 yard of each other for total yards per game. Yeah, it's pretty good.
The one thing I would say about T-Webb is what you saw in the Marist game is he's got a accurate arm, a quick release. He's a very good passer of the ball when he gets the protection. But Marist was able to blitz some, although not a lot. Sometimes it was just the front four. The front four very good this year. Got through to T-Webb. And T-Webb, when he drops back, he holds the ball not close to his chest. He actually just holds it out, waiting to pass the ball, so that when he's ready to pass the ball, it's a quicker release instead of having to bring it out from his body.
Yeah.
But that makes him more susceptible to the fumble, as we saw 2, almost 3 strips on T-Webb by the Marist front four, one including the Jalen Clark strip touchdown. So he'll need to protect the ball a little better against Blessed Trinity, because if Blessed Trinity decides to blitz them, they could get to the quarterback and force turnovers all day.
Yeah, he had a pretty average game against Marist. Not one of his best, 200 passing yards, 11 for 24, because Marist was got a lot of pressure on him, made him throw the ball real quick. Wasn't able to get too many good passes in, but he did have a fantastic receiver in Devontae Ross that game. He's a sophomore, class of 2021, 127 yards on 4 receptions. Both of their touchdowns scored by him, and he had 2 big touchdowns. Both were over 40 yards, I think.
Yeah, and he just beat Marist with speed in that game. Blessed Trinity's got to watch out. He ran right past some of our cornerbacks, got wide open down the field.
Yeah, and both these teams beat Marist by only 3 points. Marist scored more points against Cartersville, but in both games, Marist had a defensive touchdown within the 25-yard line of each team. So they're going to have to make it a priority to keep the ball and protect the ball.
Yeah, but I would say Marist had more. It looked like they had a better chance at beating Cartersville than Blessed Trinity. In the Blessed Trinity game, the Marist offense did nothing all game, couldn't get anything going, and so when Blessed Trinity got up that 3-point lead with the field goal late in the game, you didn't really think that Marist had a chance. Blessed Trinity kind of dominated Marist for their defense, and you didn't think Marist was going to be able to put together a drive to get any points on the board. So against Cartersville, you saw the Marist offense kind of got it going at some points in the game, got some good drives. Some were not that good drives, but some were, and the defense certainly helped out. So I think Blessed Trinity will enter as a slight favorite, given that they've performed well all year, and Marist obviously almost defeated Cartersville, and Cartersville didn't play their best game against Marist, but it should be a great matchup in the state finals.
Yeah. That was definitely a winnable game for Marist, too. They made a few key mistakes. The punt block attempt leading to the 15-yard penalty, then they scored on that drive. Also, the missed field goal. We were on the 8-yard line, I think, to start. We started the drive on the 8-yard line. First and goal, weren't able to get any points out of that. That hurt. So that was definitely a winnable game for Marist. I went into halftime. I was pretty positive going into halftime. We went up 14-10, I think, right? 14-10, and it just felt like Marist had all the momentum going into halftime, scoring twice within a minute. So, that's just a bummer ending the game like that.
To be fair to Cartersville, I think they did play the better game out of the two teams. It was just the turnovers that really gave Marist a really good shot at winning that game. If Cartersville could have not turned the ball over, it would have put Marist into bad field position all night, and the offense just had a few good drives. Mostly they were punting after 1 or 2 first downs.
Yeah, and both defenses are going to have to make it a priority to stop these two players, Marcus Gary and Steele Chambers. Now, we talked about Marcus Gary a little bit before the Cartersville game. Didn't have his best game against Marist, but still not bad. I think he had 84 yards on 22 carries, about 4 yards per carry. Didn't get involved much in the receiving game, 22 yards on 2 receptions. So kind of an average game for him. Not an average game, but a below average game for him. Looking at these stats, both these players playing fantastic all season, both seniors. Marcus Gary has not been recruited at all, not looking to go anywhere. It doesn't seem like Steel Chambers, as we said earlier, going to Ohio State. But I think the difference between these two players is Steel Chambers is a more downhill runner. He runs very hard, lowers his shoulder a lot, but he's also able to be quick, get on the outside, and make very, very good open field plays.
That's right. So I think, who can stop the run game the best. I mean, obviously, I think Cartersville pass game is a little better than Blessed Trinity, but they have to get the protection.
Mm-hmm.
If they can't get the protection, they'll just have to run the ball, and it will come down to who can stop the run better. So that'll wrap up our preview of the GHSA 4A state final matchup. Before we go, a quick shout out to one of our fall teams, the cross country team. 2 of their seniors were named to the Powerade All Metro Atlanta Track Club cross country first team. That would be Leaf Anderson for the boys and Kathleen Maley for the girls. And Kathleen Maley obviously going to Tennessee for running. And shout out to Leaf Anderson, who actually committed this week to Georgia Tech to go run track and field and cross country at Georgia Tech, joining some of his former teammates who went there in the past few years. So big congratulations to both those two, and especially Leaf on committing.
Yeah, and we look forward to see how our basketball team is going to play this year. Looking pretty good to start 3-2, as we said earlier. They're looking to make it a good season this year, coming off of a kind of average last year.
Yeah, and don't forget those 5 dates with back-to-back games. We will be broadcasting with commentary, the full graphics package and everything, so be sure to tune in. Our first one coming up next Friday at home against Blessed Trinity, girls at 6 o'clock, boys at 7:30. Be sure to stay tuned to watch that game. So for MBC, I'm Andrew Sellover.
And I'm Connell Scruggs.
Have a great week, everybody.